It's now time for Matt and Dan in the house of... Well, a very good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Matt and Dan in the house of...
Quark. Hello.
Exactly. So welcome everyone to another episode 22 of Matt and Dan House of Quark. Yeah, 22. You could be watching this on our Facebook page at M&DHQ, or watch us, of course, on our YouTube channel. Just type Matt and Dan House of Quark. You'll find us there. Or listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Anchor, Breaker, or, of course, Overcasts and Pocket Casts as well, or any other third-party website that I've never even heard of, because I'm sure, apparently we're on loads again, apparently they keep giving the other websites that I never heard of.
We're probably like on torrents as well. Like
Yeah.
Putlocker or something like that, I don't know.
So apparently we got listeners from Romania, I believe, or something like that. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I don't think so.
No, I know you've mentioned like Singapore and Australia and Germany.
So apparently we got listeners from Romania as well. I know we got a lot from America, a lot from the United States. Apparently our age group is mainly 35 to 45, around that age group as well. So they are older than us, but that's cool. Obviously some our age as well, and some younger. So yeah, I think it's quite cool. We're very diverse, I think. So that's cool.
Yes, that's good. That's good
to know. So, of course, this is episode 22. Now, before we get straight into, right into our topic for today, we've got a brand new segment, haven't we? A brand new part of the show.
A brand new segment, which I'm really looking forward to. It was going to be part of our quiz episode, if you have watched that or listened to it. But it's got its own little segment.
Yeah, it's a little segment. So,
tell them, Matt, what is it?
What's it called again?
This is classic us.
Yeah.
It's called Would You Rather?
It's now time for You've Got It. Would you rather?
Would you rather? Yes.
So, Dan, can you explain how Would You Rather works, please?
Yes. So, a lot of you, if you're unfamiliar with the concept of Would You Rather, Matt and I have different questions. You've got two possibilities. Would you rather this or this? You've probably played it. Is it a pre-drinking game? I don't know. It's kind of like.
It can get quite rude, I think, if it's if a drinking game.
Yeah, well, we're not going to get rude. We're going to do Star Trek themes. So you've got to pick one. You can have one or the other. Simple, really.
Simples.
Is that simple enough?
I think so. Yeah. So basically, we've got 5 questions each, or 5 questions, I guess. Yeah. And then basically the question is, would you rather this or would you rather that? And then we'll discuss why. Yes. And we'll see if we match on them, or we'll see if we don't match on them. We're quite interested.
They are Star Trek themed, of course.
Yeah. they're all Trek themed, of course. Yeah. Right.
We could have done life things as well.
Yeah, we could have done life things. Would you rather tea? Would you rather coffee?
Yes.
Cats or dogs? Right. Do you want to go first?
Anyway, yes. So number 1 for me. This is starting off easy.
Okay.
Would you rather the Alpha Quadrant or the Delta Quadrant?
The Alpha Quadrant or the Delta Quadrant?
Yes.
I mean, I know the Alpha Quadrant better.
Yes.
I mean, I like the idea of exploring the Delta Quadrant because obviously, it's a lot to explore. But I probably would say the Alpha Quadrant just because I'm more familiar with it, really. And
yes.
I would probably say the Alpha Quadrant for that reason, really.
Yes.
What about you?
I would say the Delta Quadrant, actually, just because I think there's a lot more unexplored stuff.
Yeah. No, that's
if
true.
there was an easy way to get to the Delta Quadrant rather than having to go via the Borg, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I was thinking of that as well. Like, I don't really want to bump into those guys either.
No.
The other quadrant's a bit more peaceful, really.
This is true. But yeah, there we are. Delta Quadrant.
Shall I do mine?
Yes. What is your
Okay. My first one is animated series or Lower Decks.
Ooh, ooh. That is a
Is
good
that a hard
question.
one now?
That is a hard one, yes. Animated series or Lower Decks? I've got a similar question actually later, but well, it is a different question, but it has Lower Decks in the thing. I would say personally, animated series, just because I just prefer it really. If I'm honest, I think, yeah, I don't know. I think I just prefer it. I think just for that reason, if I was to choose one to watch right now, it would be animated series.
Okay. I probably
You?
go for Lower Decks. Look, I mean, I love the
Okay.
animated series. I think it's brilliant. Lower Decks, though, just has that adult comedy
Yeah.
cartoon feel that I love. You know, I love all the Rick and Morty's and all that. So for me, that's probably why I go for Lower Decks. And I know there's only one series at the moment, and you know there will be more. So yeah,
it is
I
more
think
accessible as well, isn't it?
yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I do love the animated series. Like I think I always think the animated series is really psychedelic, to be honest. It's very out there, you know. It's
Yeah.
whereas I Lower Decks is just it's just funny, and like I said, it's just full of so many Easter eggs of like references everywhere, and like you know I need to watch it more just because I know I missed some, you know, because it's just so much in there.
Yeah. When we gonna do an Easter egg episode of
Yeah,
Lower
yeah.
Decks? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we
We should
will
do.
definitely. No,
Yeah.
we will have to.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fun, definitely.
Awesome.
Right. What's your next one?
My next one. This one is a good one. Well, I think so anyway. Space station or starship?
Now, I love the idea of a space station. That's why I love DS9, because I love the fact that in some respects we see more aliens,
Yeah.
weirdly enough. You know what I mean? Because obviously they go there. I guess with spaceship or starship, sorry, you get to explore more.
Mm.
I like the idea of the space station. I'm gonna go for space station. There we are.
Space station.
I'm
Yeah.
saying that. Yeah. Because I,
Space
I
station.
like the idea that you know you meet interesting characters there, like you know that's what shows in DS9, right? You know.
Yeah. I actually agree. Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
space station as well. Actually, obviously because of DS9, and also I just like the idea of being with a starship. You can go anywhere in space, but like I quite like the idea of being in one,
Mm-hmm.
especially in deep space, like a remote part of space.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just like
Yeah.
that.
I like that one. Yes, definitely. Yeah, space station. Yeah. Okay. The Defiant from DS9 or the Delta Flyer from Voyager.
Oh, that's a very good one. That is a very good one. That is a very good one. I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go for the Defiant. Actually,
Okay.
yeah, just because obviously it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot bigger than the Delta Flyer. I mean, I know they do two different types of ship, but I just like the nimbleness and like even it's like a battle ship and it's an actual starship, but like it's quite small and because I think to use the phrase that Riker uses, it's isn't it like a nippy little a little ship or something, nippy little ship or something. Yeah, I think it's quite a cool and you can do a lot of damage with it, obviously, but it's it's just a lot cooler for me. And
Yeah.
What about you?
I might say the Delta Flyer. I just like the idea that they just made it on the ship. They built it, you know. This the Paris designed it and built it and then flew it. You know, I just again, it's small. It's you know very very powerful as well. Yeah, I can't really think of any more reasons really. I think
Don't get me wrong, it is a good
yeah.
ship. I quite like the he has like joysticks and stuff instead of
Yeah,
buttons.
yeah. I think I like I think I prefer the name as well, the Delta Flyer. Like I don't know, I like it. Flyer
It
as well. It
is.
gives me the image of speed, and you know, and that's what it
Yeah,
was all about. Obviously, with speed. So I think I'm gonna go with Delta Flyer. There we are.
Delta Flyer. Awesome. Okay, next one from me.
Okay.
Would you rather be assimilated by the Borg, or spend eternity or a faster period of time in the torture chamber thing that from the mirror universe that they use, the torture thingy?
Oh, yeah. So would I rather be tortured in the torture chamber on the
Yeah.
mirror universe,
I
or
couldn't think of the actual name, but you know what I mean.
yeah, or assimilated by
Or be a Borg, yeah, or assimilated by the
be a
Borg.
Borg?
Yeah.
Problem. I mean, watching, I prefer the Borg, but me myself, as in, if I actually was living in a Star Trek universe, I think I'd probably rather the chamber over the Borg, because at least then I'd be myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I agree.
yeah. I think I'm gonna go for that, actually. Yeah, I think I'd rather. Yeah, I mean, watching it on a TV show, I think, oh yeah, be a Borg. I like that. I like when they assimilate people. But if it was myself, no.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
For that reason, you at least you still have your humanity, I guess.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going for that.
Awesome.
Cool. And you're the same then.
Yes, I'm the same. Yes, I agree. Torture chamber for me.
Okay, so my next one, Mirror Universe. So, Mirror Universe episode or holodeck episode.
Ooh. Very universe episode or holodeck episode. I love a good holodeck episode. I love a good holodeck episode.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go holodeck episode.
Holodeck episode.
You can. I mean, there's so many possibilities with the holodeck episode. You can do like a Shakespearean type thing, or like a Sherlock Holmes type thing, or you can, be on a boat, they are in. I can't remember what film it is, but
it's Star Trek. It's not Generations. Is it Generations actually? Could be Generations.
You know the one I mean, anyway.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's the first Star Trek Generation film, as in start at the Next Generation film. If you know what I mean? Yeah. It might be Generations actually. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bet that, I think it's so much more fun to do for a holodeck episode. And my favorite Star Trek episode is a holodeck episode, which is the baseball one of DS9.
Yeah.
Take me out to the holosuite. So
yeah.
For me,
episode. I'm gonna say the same actually, and pretty much for those reasons. Yeah, I think. You could potentially have a mirror episode in the holodeck if you wanted to, really.
Yeah, guess, this is true.
Yeah. But I still love obviously mirror episodes, especially in Enterprise, as we discussed obviously in previous episodes of this. But yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I'm gonna go for the holodeck episodes. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, good. It's my turn now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one was similar to your question a couple of questions ago. Would you rather be a bridge officer or a lower decker?
Ooh, bridge officer or lower decker. Now, bridge officer, of course, has a lot more power on board. However, bridge officers then, I'm going to kind of relate it to my job actually. So, with me, obviously you can imagine sometimes people, not necessarily step out of line. I don't mean step out of line and do something bad, but I mean, you live on the ship, you can do something a bit naughty sometimes or whatever you shouldn't have done. And they always seem to say, you're an officer now, you need to show by example and all that. So it kind of, what I'm trying to say is when you're an officer, you sort of got to be, what's the word? You know what I mean? Like very, you got to do everything by the book, basically. You can't, it's hard to relax as much as you can as a crew member, as in crew members, obviously,
you can get away with more.
Yeah. Because you're expected more as an officer, I would say.
Yeah.
So I would probably say the lower decks, and that is from experience, of now and then being in a little bit of trouble and told that I'm an officer and then I shouldn't be doing that. So
from some of the stories you've told me about your job, yes, I can understand.
So I'm going with that. Yeah, I'm gonna say I'd rather be the lower deck, so I can just get away with I mean, you're under the radar a little bit more as well if you're lower decks. So no one really. I mean, obviously they care, but not as. Do you know what I mean? If you're an officer, you
Not
are.
much pressure, I guess, as well.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly. Not that much pressure as you would. I mean, obviously officers. I mean, in a Star Trek world, I guess no one really gets paid, but in the real world, you get paid more. But in Star Trek, I guess no, you wouldn't, would you?
I think you're more. You'd be more expendable though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, saying this, mine, I mean, again, relates to the job I was doing was if you're higher the rank you are, the more like privileges you have. So like the more like deck privileges you have, areas you can go to. So that's one thing is that I imagine officers having more rights to use the holodeck and things, whereas crew members probably not as much. So you know what I mean? It's yeah. But I think the lower decks have a lot more fun anyway. I think they have the parties really.
Yeah. Oh dear. I would say a bridge officer for me personally.
Okay.
I'm just fascinated by the bridge, and I think especially when I was younger watching Star Trek, I was always, I would have loved it to like, be Tom Paris on your like, just be on the bridge. I think that's more exciting.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But then I don't know, just have less responsibility. A bit more fun. That's the way I see it. But then Tom Paris was sort of a bit of both, though, wasn't he? I guess he sort of played the game. Yeah. Right. So, there we are. So you are being officer. I'd rather be the lower decks. Okay. So my next one. So the original communicator or the next generation communicator. So the flip-up phone communicator from the original series or the next gen badgy one, isn't it? Yeah, badgy.
Badgy. That's a good question. I quite like. I'm gonna say the original communicator, just because I like the fact that it's an actual physical thing rather than.
Yeah.
I know it's. I guess it's more sciencey to have it on the badge, but I quite like the idea of that it's I guess closer to what we have in the real world, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a more physical thing rather than it's more like a walkie-talkie type thing rather than
yeah.
Because sometimes, right, I don't know if I'm quite being naive, but like the badge, they press the badge and they just say, Picard to the bridge or whatever. It's like how does that work? At least with a communicator, it's an actual phone type thing.
Yeah. I know what you mean. What I mean? Yeah. It's like Picard to the bridge. There's like Beverly Crusher's like, no, Picard, I'm in the shower. You know what I mean? I don't understand. That would be a good sketch.
Yes, and and they always seem to like reply straight away. Surely, like it would take a couple of minutes to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Well, I always feel sorry for them, like, again, on the original series and on Enterprise, where they have, like, the buttons on, like, the walls, and they're like, oh, hello? You know what I mean? They walk all the way there and press a button. Hello?
Like, if they're on the toilet or something, and they're like, oh, damn it, I've got to run to press the button and say hello, rather than...
Well, it's funny you say that now, right? But on the ships, actually, the captain has actually have a toilet. He has a phone next to the toilet. Apparently, what I've been told. And the thing is, I actually believe this now, because once I went to a hotel in Barcelona, and honest to God, there was a phone next to the toilet.
Wow, those Spanish are ahead of their time.
I know, it was. The thing is, I'll just say I was in the toilet at the time, and the phone started to ring, and and I was just about to pop into the shower, and I was like, oh no, I need to go and answer the phone now. Like, just put the tap, ran the water, was just about to step in, and do what you do. And the phone started to ring, and I was like, oh no. And then I looked down, and I was like, there's a phone there next to the toilet. So then I answered the phone, and I was thinking, like, do you think she knows I'm answering from the toilet? Like, does it say like a little light, toilet phone? Like, I just, and I was like, imagine you were like, anyway? Well, no, it was the reception lady that worked on the hotel, because they were telling me that my pickup was at 8:00 in the morning. That was all the next day.
Oh, right.
I was going to work, and then because they put us in a hotel in Barcelona, so I was just there, and then they phoned me, and I was like, And the thing is, it was like echoey in the room as well. So I was like, this is quite awkward. Like, hello, it's like she knows that I'm in the bathroom right now. It's just
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good.
So there we are. That I think that answers the question. Just put the toilet next to put the phone next to the toilet. Yeah.
Anyway, back to your would you rather question. Yes, for me, the original series Communicator.
Same. I'm gonna go for same as well. I just think they look better as well. I think it looks really cool. I think the idea that you see shots of Captain Kirk and he flips it. I mean, in the end, that became the future. I mean, obviously, when we were younger, it was all about the Motorola Razr, wasn't it? That was basically it. And Captain Kirk was doing that in the 60s. Like, that's how cool, that is. So for me, definitely, I'm gonna go for the flip phone. I think that's Star Trek as well. It's just cool. It's like,
absolutely,
beam me up. Like, it's all about that, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. There we go. In agreement. And so, final one from me, and this one is definitely a one tailored to you.
Okay.
But I can answer it as well. Would you rather a chat with Data or go for a pint with Tom Paris?
Ooh.
Because I know you like robots and androids and Data, but I also know that you like a pint. So, not in a
No, I know what you mean.
Way.
I mean, I'd love to have a chat with Data. I just think I'd have a great night out with Tom Paris. I just think it'd be hilarious, I'm going for the night out. Screw it. Yeah, I'm gonna have a night out with Tom Paris. Yeah, I choose that. Night out with Tom Paris. I think I'd love to talk to Data, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how much I can handle after an hour or so with Data.
Yeah.
What about you though?
It is a tricky one because I love Data, but I think I probably would have more fun if I went for a pint with Tom Paris. No offense to Data.
We'd end up going the Delta Flyer way, have a bit of fun. It'd be
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Paris, I think.
Yeah, but I think Paris as well, actually, to be honest.
Sorry, Data. But yeah. Right. So this is my last one now. I left this one to the last. I mean, this is Star Trek related, but in a way it's not. But I thought I'd put it in anyway.
Yeah.
The Orville or Red Dwarf?
Oh, that's a very good question. That is a very good one. I'm glad you asked that one, actually. It's interesting because I've recently watched Red Dwarf, as you know.
Dwayne Dibley. I look like Dwayne Dibley.
I'm gonna get you, little fishy. I mean, I don't really need. I think Red Dwarf personally. Actually, I think it's. Although the Orville is really good, but the thing for me, I see the Orville as like Series 1 Orville and then like Series 2 Orville. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The tone of the show changed in a good way, like not in a bad way.
Yeah. It sort of matured. It's weird. And then the Orville started off as like a pure sort of comedy show, and then it sort of became a serious sci-fi show as it sort of went up through the series. That's what I felt anyway.
But I think my preference would be Red Dwarf over the Orville, just because it's a British thing as well.
I think it's our humor, isn't it? Though
it's our humor.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's like things like it's more catchphrases like Dwayne Dibley and I love Crichton. I love Crichton as well. Crichton reminds me of somebody I went to uni with.
It's a Czech Republic traffic warden.
Crichton reminds me of someone I went to uni with. So
oh right. Yeah. Oh cool. I'm gonna have to say Red Dwarf as well. To me, Red Dwarf was a big part of growing up for me. It's just legendary. It's just so funny. There's not a show like it. It really isn't. I think it's very unique. It's just great. And you said the one-liners. Like you said that you mentioned what the one-line, because it is. It's just full of one-liners. They go around calling each other Smeghead all the time.
Yeah. And Goalpost Head as well is one I like.
Yeah. I love the one. When there's there's a time thing, and the cat. They keep repeating the same scene. He goes, "What is it?" It's it's the time portal, or whatever. He goes, "Well, what is it?" It's just over and over again. It's just brilliant. It's just so simple, but so funny. What is it?
What is it? You do a really good impression of the cat.
Wow. Right. So there we are. I think, is that it though? Is that, or you want to one?
That is. I think we said 5.
Five each. Okay, cool. Yeah, 5 each. Here we are. So there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Would You Rather. It's now time for You've Got It. Right then, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to carry on now with episode 22 of Matt and Dan in the House of Quark. And today's episode is about Star Trek 2009. It's a 2009 film, of course, released, believe it or not, in 2009.
Yes.
With, of course, Mr. J.J. Abrams. And it's Bad Robot, isn't it? I think it's called.
Yes.
Yeah, Bad Robot Productions. So we're going to talk about what we like, what we didn't like. We're talking things about, like, say, the casting, the production, maybe the soundtrack, anything like that. Does start at work as an action film. We'll be talking about that as well. And do we think the Kelvin timeline is needed for the franchise? So exciting stuff. Really exciting stuff. So we're going to start off, of course, what we liked, what we didn't like. Personally, I want to say, when this first came out in 2009, I absolutely fell in love with it. I thought it was, it blew me away. I thought it was absolutely incredible film. I think at the time, it was quite revolutionary with the CGI. The CGI was, at the time, was amazing. I'll always remember seeing it in cinema, and the CGI was just spot on. I know, as I watched it last night, and I watched it finally on like a decent TV, because I think I've been watching it for a few years now on not such great television sets or laptop screens, and now I watched it on quite a decent television screen, because now I think good TV screens are not as expensive as they were back then. They're all going in price now, and I sort of do admire it a lot more in some respects as I even did back then. I think really was incredible production for its time. I think in 2009. So I'm gonna say I liked it. I'm gonna go on things I didn't like shortly, but what I loved, I just love the actual visuals of it. I think it just looked superb. I think it looked, I think the best way to describe it is it's a nice shiny CGI movie, isn't it? That's what it is.
That's a good way of describing it. Yeah. For me, it was like watching Star Trek on a grand scale. Like it's like
grand scale. Yeah, I like that.
I'm glad that we decided to do this episode. I forgot how good a film it is. Obviously, having to rewatch it. I watched it yesterday. I forgot how good it was. Like, it is so good. Like you say, the visuals. For me, I love the grand scale of it. It's, and this is probably down to J.J. Abrams. It's very beautifully shot. Just like the camera angles and like some of the sequences. Like I quite like the one, where he's a young boy and he's driving the car and he jumps out of the car, and like the way the camera focuses on the car and then goes up and you see like the canyon. Just is very beautifully shot. It's that's what I just love the way it's shot for me.
100%, I agree. Like, I mean, when I remember in school and studying, so we were in school when this came out, right? I remember studying media, and you would have come across this, I'm sure, especially, I mean, I don't know, we covered it in college and stuff. I probably did, and imagine you might have done in uni, like the term mise en scène or mise en scène.
Mise en scène, yes.
Mise en scène, yeah. Which obviously the idea, is basically what you see in the frame, isn't it? Like, the lighting, the costume. And we actually had a poster in our media classroom in school, and it was Star Trek 2009. That's what it was. And it was things like the makeup, the lighting, and every time I think of Star Trek 2009, I always think of mise en scène. So you're right. They said the actual production, the visuals, is exactly what it is. Like, it's a textbook example of mise en scène, isn't it? That's what 2009 is.
I can understand why it's because did you do media studies as a GCSE? Because I know I
I
did.
did, yeah,
And I think that's probably where I
Oh,
came
there we
across
are then.
that term.
Yeah.
Um,
That's it. Yeah.
and I think we probably did do Star Trek as well. I know one of the films we did was Hot Fuzz in media studies, but there we are. But no, there's a lot of things to, you know, look out for. You know, with mise en scène, like it's not just, you know, the actors on screen; it's everything. It's like I say, it's a grand scale. It's big, and it's there's a lot of nice
do you mind if I actually play the 2009 trailer? Because for me, that really does sum it up as well
let's watch it.
Of what Star Trek 2009 is all about. And I remember when this trailer came out. Right then, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get set it up now. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna watch the trailer of Star Trek 2009. Obviously this came out in 2009, as we said, so it was a long time ago now. I think I remember seeing this advertised in Bramau Cinema. I don't know what film I went to see, but I remember, that even the trailer blew me away. I was like, wow, like that's it looked, it looked amazing. Like,
I can remember seeing the trailer film as well, but I can't remember the film.
Right then, so what we're gonna do now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna watch now start 2009 trailer. I'm quite excited about this now. Okay, here we go. Alrighty then. So that would have been the full feature trailer, I think. But I remember there was like a, what's it called? Like a spoof trailer that came out, I remember as well.
Oh,
do you remember the spoof trailer was basically Leonard Nimoy's voice? Do you not remember that? And it just showed the Star Trek logo. Do you not remember that?
No.
No.
Sorry.
I feel like I need to show you that now.
Okay.
But anyway, anyway, like I said, just looking at that, it is pretty much sums up what we're trying to say as well. With all the CGI and everything, and I guess it very I guess it's modernized Star Trek.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah,
like Star Trek. I mean, so just watching that trailer, like you said, with all the CGI and all the on all the scenes and the pace of the trailer, it has this really like action packed feel to it, doesn't it? Which is, I guess, if you're watching Star Trek for years, I mean, like I said, this film was even, I think, named like action film of the year at the time. And Star Trek, well, it isn't an action at all. It's science fiction. So it must be weird for say Star Trek fans to see that, like their films or their franchises just become this sort of action packed sort of I don't know. Do you know what I mean? This action packed modern show now, and it's like, but still has elements of, what they love.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very exciting. I mean, the trailer is very exciting, and so is the film. It's and it brings like, well, I hope, new interested people and people like yourself, because I know you've always said that this is what sort of made you bring
definitely
back Star Trek for you.
I think I think you're 100% right saying that. Yeah, I think just that trailer alone, because I said, it was mise en scène, it was, the visuals. Star Trek 2009 isn't just a Star Trek film to me. I think it's important as a Star Trek film, because obviously, you say, brings in more audience, but also for other reasons, not just because it's Star Trek, because it's a great, well-made production, and people can appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the trailer, like when you first see the Enterprise, because up to that point you're like, what's this film about? And then you go, it's a Star Trek film, and it's like, wow. And that's kind of how you feel throughout the film. I guess it's kind of like, is this really Star Trek? I feel like I'm watching like it's an action film.
Film, yeah.
Definitely. This is really Star Trek. It's great. I love it. I forgot how good it is. when I'm watching it, I thought it was kind of similar to like Discovery, and it's on a broader sort of more. I guess they had more money and stuff
Yeah.
scale, but it's in that sense.
Uh-huh.
But it's like with the modernization of it, you've got obviously the original series, because
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously based on the original series characters and stuff, and it's it's kind of taken that and put it into a modern
Yeah.
setting, and I think it definitely is for new fans and old fans alike. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's definitely
I think that trailer, like you said, I think it had a bit of both. I think it really did try and grab the attention of the new fans a lot. What's interesting is if you remember watching For the Love of Spock. Is it for no? Is it not For the Love of Spock? Is the other one? The one with Gene? I don't think you've seen Trek Nation. I think you've seen Trek Nation, have you?
I've not seen that yet. No.
So in Trek Nation, Eugene Roddenberry actually goes to see J.J. Abrams.
Right.
And he shows him a video of his dad talking about the future of Star Trek. And his dad, Gene Roddenberry, actually says the words, in the future, someone will make a nice, big, well-made production of my characters and their story going through the Academy. He actually said those words, and J.J. Abrams didn't know about this. He didn't know Gene Roddenberry ever said that, because J.J. Abrams is not really. You've got to remember, J.J. Abrams is not really a Star Trek fan. He's made that clear. He's more of a Star Wars fan, which we'll get into when we look at other Kelvin Universe films, where he does try and link the two together in some shape or form.
It's funny you should say that, though, because one thing I did notice, I don't know if you agree, like it does have elements of Star Wars in it, actually.
Yeah, I do agree.
Even in the first one, I know more so in
Mm-hmm.
other Kelvin films, like you say, but even in this one, there's a lot of.
I mean, part of me feels, because J.J. Abrams did Star Wars as well, didn't he? Do Force Awakens and all that as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
So you could tell in some ways, is this J.J. Abrams sort of showcasing himself for science fiction? I don't know, and that's why he always wanted to do Star Wars, because I feel like Star Wars was more. Don't know, I think he's done a fantastic job at Star Trek. I'm not saying he hasn't, but I feel like he was more comfortable with Star Wars than he was with Star Trek.
Yeah. I think, a way of looking at it, I think Star Trek might have been his audition to get the Star.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
his little showcase sort of thing. Yeah. But I definitely, you can tell more of a Star Wars fan, I think, than a Trek fan. However, I'm going to show this trailer now, and this I feel really did show them really trying to grab the attention of Star Trek fans, well, traditional Star Trek fans.
So was this an official trailer as well then, or is it?
I think this is the one actually I was thinking of. Actually, I mean, I have seen that one we just played, but this is the one I was really thinking of, because I remember. I really think this is how. I think the one we just watched really tried to bring in sort of like new audiences, but this one I feel is the one that really pulled the heartstrings of the old Star Trek fans. It really got the Trekkies involved, I'll see if you think. Well, see if you agree with me. So here we go. I think this is the one, because it's the teaser one. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah. Wow. What can I say? I mean, that trailer, I think it's so simple. I mean, it's literally just the Enterprise under construction, being built. You can hear the sound of like the beaming, that sort of sound, ringing sound in the background. You've got Leonard Nimoy doing the famous speech, "Space, the Final Frontier." I think it's JFK, that mankind now looks into space. I think he said that, or we'll walk on the moon by the year 69. I think he said famously, and it's all that, and it all builds up, and then all they have and all they need is the logo. And to me, I think it's brilliant what he's done there, because it is for the Star Trek fans, that little teaser is. That's not for anyone else, really. I mean, people may recognize the logo, but he doesn't even need to say Star Trek. He just has the logo and has Leonard Nimoy talking, and that is all you need to advertise it,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know, I actually had goosebumps watching that then.
Yeah, I was going to say it's nice that I was listening to that and watching that with headphones on,
Yeah.
just because I think it just amplified the sound a little bit more. I felt quite emotional
Yeah.
watching it. Like I did actually at the end of the film, where it is Leonard Nimoy doing the famous Kirk speech thing, to
Yeah.
boldly go where no man has gone before. Like, rewatching that yesterday, I was like, oh, Star Trek is so awesome. And I think one brilliant thing about the film and what J.J. Abrams did is, yeah, he made awesome trailers, but like the trailer carried on through. You know how some trailers big the film up, and it's like sometimes the film cannot be as good as the trailer.
Yeah.
But like the film is so awesome, and it's just it's nice that tone set in the trailers carries on throughout the film.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, like
yeah. I mean, for me as well, I think now becoming like a big Star Trek fan as I am now and watching it, I really appreciate what he did as well with the writing aspect, as in he made his own timeline. So the whole idea was that it was the paradox thing where obviously the Romulan goes back in time, seek revenge on Spock, but obviously accidentally ends up crashing into the USS Calvin, and then obviously causes Captain Kirk's dad to die, which then leads to that timeline and builds that new timeline. Yeah.
I was going to say quickly, do you know where the name Kelvin comes from?
It's J.J. Abrams' granddad now.
Yeah, you knew that, yeah. But that's actually throughout the whole of all of his films, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, because I didn't know that. You see.
Yeah, well, I think in a weird way, in J.J. Abrams' films, all weirdly, I don't know if he tries to make them connected or he just does Easter eggs for them all, like the whole word Kelvin appears. It appears in other shows he's done as well, which I'm not 100% sure what. I mean, I know he directed Lost, didn't he? I think he did that.
Yeah, and Alias as well, I think.
Yeah.
Not
and
that I've seen Alias.
other things as well, and apparently he has featured the word Kelvin in other things as well.
Is it? I don't know if it's in Star Wars. Is it? Can't remember.
I don't know. Actually, that's a good question. Yeah.
Being more of a Star Trek fan, I wouldn't. I wouldn't really remember.
I don't know.
But going back to I quite like that aspect of the Kelvin timeline because it's not really encroaching on what was already been before, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, because there are some things. All right, I'm gonna go into things I didn't like now. I'm gonna because I
got loads. I like.
yeah. No, I've got things I like. I also got things I don't like. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not too sure about the love interest with Spock in Lieutenant Uhura. I'm not sure about that one.
Absolutely agree with that one. Yeah, that is rewatching that actually. Because at the time when I first saw it, I didn't, I guess, mind it so much. But I think that's probably because I was younger and didn't really understand Star Trek as much as I do now.
Yeah.
Like it's just for me unnecessary.
Yeah, I think it was just the whole action thing, he just wanted to make it look, quite cool. Oh yeah, and there's a love interest, and you know what I mean. And it's just like, but them two, I just don't see them two together at all. And I mean that in a nice way, I just mean I just don't see it. I just, I don't know.
It is very weird.
I understand it's a separate timeline and stuff, but still, and also one thing I didn't like, and I understand it's only a movie at the end of the day, but I don't know, it's just me being picky as a Star Trek fan, and maybe because I'm so used to Star Trek, lasting like 7 seasons with 24 episodes in them or something. But it's just the fact that James T. Kirk became from a cadet to captain within like 2 minutes.
I know it was good, but it's not that good.
Yeah. It was because he's a cadet at the start. I mean, he didn't even get picked for the ship first of all because he got in trouble, obviously, because he cheated, in the and I love that bit. I think it's brilliant when he did that, and also him eating the apple. That really, I mean, that's very William Shatner-esque. I find it in the apple, and being big-headed, and I love that. Fantastic, like. But then obviously when Bones sneaks him on board and things, and then he's a cadet, and then he becomes, and then for some reason, then because he's correct about the Romulans, Pike's like, "You're my first officer now." I was like, "Why is he first officer? Because he picked the Romulans, It's
and then surely, right? Because obviously Spock, Pike promotes Spock to captain, right?
Yeah.
and then makes Kirk the first officer. But
Yeah.
then Kirk goes when he's obviously he returns to the ship, and Spock steps down. But does that then, like, obviously then Kirk, takes over command, but he's still technically first officer, though, isn't he? Like, surely when Spock comes back, he's captain again. Does that?
Yeah.
I don't. Or am I just being confused?
No, you are right. Because then obviously, yeah. Because obviously the idea is Leonard Nimoy tells him, doesn't he? Basically, oh yeah, you need to like make him so he he's not captain anymore. You have to try and because obviously basically Spock's not going very well because he has an emotional response to what happened to Vulcan, right? And Leonard Nimoy basically tells Kirk to pressure on that, doesn't he? He says like, don't tell him I exist and all that. And he's like, okay. And then obviously he goes, oh, you watched your planet and your mother die and blah blah. And obviously then Spock gets emotional because he's half human and he can't control his emotions that well as other Vulcans can. So obviously then he has to relieve the duties, which is understandable. But then obviously because he was first officer, he becomes captain. But then Spock then comes back to work. So if he comes back to work, he's obviously must be a bit better then. You know what I mean? Like he's obviously fit to work then. But then surely, I know he's saying, shouldn't Spock become captain again then? And then Kirk steps down back to first. But it doesn't happen. Kirk just remains as captain. And then he's like rewarded, and Captain Pike say, relieve me of my duty. He only been trained for 3 years. He didn't even do the full 4-year course.
And he cheated on the test.
Yeah. Well, it was. It was. I mean, the idea it was unbeatable, isn't it? The test. That's the idea. Yeah. It is meant to be because they do reference that in other Star Trek shows, and Captain Kirk was the only one who passed it or something. Because the idea is that he cheated, but then obviously the idea is that he was smart enough to cheat it. So I get all that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It is that weird sort of, I guess, catch-22. It's like, well, yes, it doesn't work, but also it is in another timeline. So it's
yeah.
like, would they get together? But
I guess, yeah, just appreciate it for what it is, sort of thing. Yeah. I guess, yeah.
I mean, I absolutely agree. Going back, I absolutely agree with you with the Spock and Uhura romance. But I do like that they developed, I guess, Uhura a little bit more.
Yeah.
Showed her sort of side, I guess. Yeah.
I never understand why she was so secretive about her first name. Nyota is like, I am telling you my first name, and then Spock just says it randomly, and Kirk's like, well, that's your name. And says, like, why did she even cover that up? I don't get. I don't know. I just didn't really understand why it mattered, really. But whatever. Yeah. I just found also not just Kirk though, also Lieutenant Uhura. I mean, she wasn't picked for the bridge originally, and then because she was down. Because you remember when Kirk finds her, she's down by the lower decks area doing whatever she's doing, and she's like, "Oh my god, yeah!" And for some reason, she's the only one that could translate like Romulan or something. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What also, communications already.
It's a bit weird as well because obviously she's Spock's student, and then they end up having a relationship. It's like. Okay, that's weird. But she only got that because she was top of the class. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I know in the original series she was a good, communications officer anyway, or whatever. But yeah,
they didn't really explain. I mean, because obviously there must have been a big time difference between Kirk and Spock. Because Spock is quite old, is why I know, isn't he? Because he's obviously the Vulcans are quite. I'm not sure the actual age of Spock, but. Vulcans age pretty well, so
they live a long time.
The idea that Spock was aboard at the same time as Kirk, I don't think that would have been right. No.
I mean, I like that the film actually focused on them being younger and seeing them as boys. That was quite nice. I quite like that touch, but I think we probably were left to assume that it happened at different times, like you say.
Yeah. And I like the idea that Spock went against the Science Academy thing, because obviously they, because of your disability. And he's like, what disability? Oh, because I'm half human, And I like the idea that he went, I'll go to Starfleet then. And I think to me that does explain why he was at Starfleet and stuff. And I think that's great. But yeah.
I also what was a nice surprise was because I had no idea at the time when I rewatched it yesterday. Winona Ryder plays his mother.
Yeah,
and I was like,
Yeah, and Thor plays his father.
Chris Hemsworth, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
or Thor, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
who I again, I mean, I love Chris. I love Chris Hemsworth, and I
yeah,
would like to have seen more of him.
yeah. Same. Say, I think they're a perfect match actually, Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth. I don't know why. I just think they just work well. You know, the idea that they're related. You oh yeah, I believe that. You know what I mean? It's something about the way that them two look. You know.
Yeah, because I when I was rewatching it, I got Chris Pine mixed up with Chris Pratt, and I'm like, it's just basically Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
because Zoe Saldana's in it, who plays Uhura, and she's in Guardians of the Galaxy as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but obviously it's not Chris Pratt, it's Chris Pine.
Hmm.
But Chris Pine would have made a good Tom Paris, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
think Chris Pine is perfect for the role of Captain Kirk. I
mm,
think William Shatner even said that himself. He was very impressed with
yeah,
what Chris Pine had done.
all of them actually.
Yeah, I think Zachary Quinto, amazing performance as well from him.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a lot of mixed reviews from him, though, wasn't there? I know a lot of people didn't like his. I don't know if the Big Bang Theory reference it as well. Actually, that.
oh, I don't know. I never really watched Big Bang Theory that much, to be
Oh, okay.
honest.
Um,
But yeah, I thought he was great as Spock. I think Zachary Quinto actually become one of my favorite actors. Actually,
oh,
yeah, I think I honestly, I would say he is. Yeah, I love Zachary Quinto. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he does a great job. I think recently watched him in. I think we've seen Boys in the Band. Have you seen that?
I really want to watch that
Watch
film.
that. Watch that.
Uh,
It's really good. It was originally a play.
yeah,
It was actually a film as well, I think, back in the 80s or 70s. I think it was the first mainstream movie at the time. I think it was in the 70s that featured the C word. There we are, some trivia
all
there
right,
for you.
okay, oh,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's interesting, you know. It's very you'd like it because it's pretty much straight from the play, like the dialogue, like it's like a monologue all the time, and it's set like a play.
right, okay.
Language they use, it's like yeah, you
It's
think
on Netflix, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
There's also a documentary I think made about it as well. It's a full gay cast, so Zachary
yeah, yeah.
Quinto's in it, and
Because Jim Parsons is in it.
that's he's amazing in
Yeah,
that. Oh, Jim Parsons is a great actor actually. Because I only thought of Jim Parsons as in the
as
Big Bang
Sheldon.
Theory,
Yeah,
Sheldon. Yeah, yeah. Because I know of I don't really watch it, but I know of I've just seen a bits of it
yeah.
and stuff. But seeing him in that, honestly, I know we've gone off a bit off track here, but just saying, like, it blew me away. He is really good in that. And Zachary Quinto, though, that's what I'm talking about. Obviously, he's great in that as well.
Well,
Um,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that Zachary Quinto was gay, though. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's gay, yeah. But he's great in obviously in Star Trek as well. I think I remember him getting interviewed on like it was Graham Norton or something. I can't remember, and it was the way he talked as well. He was just cool. Zachary Quinto, I remember just being cool, and
Mm.
he was like being Spock is being the best person you can be and things like that. And
Oh, that's a good way of.
I just
Yeah.
loved, the way he explained how he got into the character and all that. And ever since that film, I've always admired Zachary Quinto. And also in like American Horror Stories and all that, I've always admired.
Oh, yeah, it's an American Horror Story, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
Yes, yes, of course.
So I've always admired Zachary Quinto. Yeah, definitely.
Is
Well,
that Asylum that he's in? Is it Asylum, the one
yeah,
he's in?
yeah. I think it's the second one, isn't
The
it? Is that
second
right?
series
Yeah.
of. I love
I only
American
watched
Horror
the
Story.
first. I think I only watched the first two. If I'm honest, I need to watch more of them. Like 'cause people always go.
Yeah.
Jordan's a big fan of them, so he always talks about.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Asylum. Hotel's good. Watch
Mhm.
Hotel. The good
Okay.
thing about American Horror Story, going off topic, is you don't have to watch them all in order because they're all different.
Yeah, because I love the first one as well. I thought the first one was brilliant. Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen the first one. Coven's good as well. I think that's the third or the fourth one, the one with the witches.
I've heard about that one. Yeah.
That one's really good.
Yeah.
But my favorite is Hotel. Watch Hotel next, I think. Definitely.
Oh, cool.
Anyway.
Anyway, yeah, off topic there, but yeah,
Go
Zachary,
back.
I love you.
Yeah,
There we are.
he does. He picked up Spock's nuances really well. I thought,
Yeah.
the way he says "fascinating," when
Mhm.
he sits in the chair and he goes "fascinating," and like
Yeah.
the eyebrow as well. Like he just, yeah, I loved his the way he did those.
I think you can really
jokes.
tell how well he played it when he was acting with Leonard Nimoy. You
Mm.
know, because Leonard
Yeah,
Nimoy is Spock at the end of the day. That's him. You know, and it was quite cool seeing the two interact with each other. And that must have been quite hard on Zachary Quinto the first time. It was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna do this with Spock, the Spock. You know, I'm pretending to
yeah,
be Spock. He is actually Spock. You know, sort
yeah.
of
That
thing. You
is
know,
Spock.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, he said casting wise, fantastic. I know sadly the guy who played Chekhov obviously passed away, didn't he, a couple of years ago?
He did, yeah. That
Yeah,
was a freak accident, wasn't he? I
yeah,
think he was
very
got
young as well, wasn't he?
very young. Yeah, he was
Uh,
really good. I liked his portrayal
mhm,
of Chekhov, and again, like it really sort of explored Chekhov a little bit more. Actually,
mhm.
it brought Chekhov out of his shell, I guess, in a way.
I think it really highlighted how skillful the original cast, well, the original crew are. You know, like it
Mm,
really highlighted Chekhov. Obviously, you know the bit obviously with the transporter and the woman
yeah,
can't find him. He's like, I can do this, I can do this. You know, and
yeah,
it's brilliant because of course he can do. He's Chekhov. He can do anything. You know. And Sulu as well. I know Sulu obviously does mess up at the start, but that's just funny, you know. But he is still a
yeah.
great pilot, and and also the sword play as well. He's good, obviously, with his sword, and
I
it's
love that they
yeah,
referenced that because
mhm,
I think it was when Kirk first meets
yeah,
Sulu on the little transport, and he goes on when they're going down to the oil, the platform thingy,
hmm, yeah, yeah,
and Kirk says to him, "So what uh, well, you know what is it that you're good at or whatever?" And he goes fencing, and
yeah,
it's like the original series episode with
yeah,
you know, George Takei and the sword. I love that bit.
yeah,
I was going to say something about Chekhov. I like, yeah, that was it. I liked when when he was trying to talk to the computer and the computer didn't recognize him
yeah, yeah.
because he couldn't say the thing. Because it reminded me of the film where he says nuclear weapons, something
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. There was definitely salutes to like classic Star Trek moments, which I'm sure J.J. Abrams would have had to you know, really just watch things and understand, why fans like certain things, and you know what I mean.
It worked. It worked so well. I thought
Mhm.
those. Um,
Yeah,
Speaking of casting, I just want to talk about Carl Urban, if I may,
yeah, yeah,
because I thought out of all of them, personally, he was my favorite to encapsulate his character in like Bones.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just think watching it, I was like, oh my god, that is. It was like watching DeForest Kelly. I think you can definitely tell that a little bit like Zachary Quinto, like very much studied.
Uh huh.
You know, just the way he talked and sort of the way he moved his mouth
Hmm.
and like the accent and stuff. Um, I thought it was great because Carl Urban is a very underrated actor. I think.
I agree. Yeah, I do agree. And he was, yeah, absolutely fantastic in that. And I really think I mean, throughout the Kelvin film series, I mean, he gets better and better, I think,
Mm,
portraying Bones, Um, I just love how it gave a bit more depth to Bones' character and why he was on board. And I mean, he says something about his wife leaving him or something, doesn't he? And all that. He's
yeah,
having,
yeah.
and he's a
She
typical,
took the dog.
yeah, yeah. And he's like an older guy, and he's having a drink, and he's just,
Yeah.
just wants to get away, really, and join Starfleet. But yeah, I understand, agree. I think he really did portray that character fantastically, and
Because
yeah.
I think I can't remember if it was the Love of Spock interview or if it was just something I read.
Hmm.
Leonard Nimoy loved Carl Urban's performance so much that it made him cry because
Oh
he said
well,
that
yeah.
it was like it reminded him of his old friend DeForest Kelly just
Oh
because of how
wow.
closely Carl Urban
Yeah.
managed to get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, no, definitely.
So yeah, like I mean, I absolutely agree. Like the casting was brilliant. I think yeah, everyone played their characters really well.
I think interesting you said that. I think it really does get another level of audience, doesn't it? I mean, obviously you have the audience of like old Trek fans, you have the audience of like new Trek fans, or people who just love cinema. You have the regular people who just watch, whatever's on TV, I guess, and then you also have, the Star Trek casts of the past, watching it, and they watch it and reminisce like Leonard Nimoy does,
Mm.
and you have to think it must be amazing for them to watch and think, wow, it reminds me of DeForest Kelly, or and it's great, they get to reminisce over that. Yeah.
I think as well having sort of big names like Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth in it, and
Hmm.
I know I mean, they're probably still relatively young in their career. I mean, I like Carl Urban, like just having big Hollywood names in it,
Hmm.
because obviously when the original series people, they were just I don't want to say nobodies, but they were starting out on their
Yeah, yeah.
careers. To have like
Hmm.
you know people that had already done sort of big films,
Yeah,
because I know
yeah.
like Carl Urban was in Lord of the Rings and things like that, and
Hmm.
um, just to have it on a Hollywood level, the big
Yeah.
Hollywood level, is just great.
Oh, definitely. And then we can't forget our very own Simon Pegg. Obviously, was in it.
Yeah, and our very own Simon Pegg,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, as Scotty, and Simon Pegg is also a big Star Trek fan. So
Yes.
it's great
Yeah.
to see him, doing what he loves, and I love that, that backstory of Scotty and being, on that snowy planet and
Yeah, I agree with that. I love that backstory of Scotty, but I also, that was one of the bits that reminded me of Star Wars.
yeah, it was at the planet Hoth when whatever
Yeah,
it's called. Yeah, it
he was
was.
like a Han Solo type.
Yeah, yeah. No, actually, now you said that. Now, yeah, that's true.
Because he's
Um,
also a Star Wars fan, isn't he, Simon Pegg?
yeah, yeah. He is a big geek. Because I don't know if you've ever seen Spaced. You ever seen
Yeah,
Spaced?
brilliant series. I love
Yeah.
Spaced. Brilliant
Well,
series.
it's basically him, isn't it? It's that idea that he's a comic book nerd and all that, and it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
because I know that one of the running jokes is like, isn't it someone says that they like the Phantom Menace or something? I don't know, and that's
yeah.
yeah, I love that.
There's, do you know, the one of the people in Spaced voices Darth Maul. Was the
Really?
voice? Yeah, one of his voices. I can't remember who he played in Spaced, but
Oh,
he was the voice of Darth Maul.
oh wow, didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I think Simon Pegg is just, again, it was just funny. He really brought a comedic element to it, like he's on the bridge with, I like this ship, and all that.
It's exciting. Yeah.
It's exciting. Um, and I love that it kind of gives that sort of working class element to it as well. That Scotty always had that just smile, and it's just fun. Um, and he obviously did the classic line, given all she's got, Captain, and all that is
I love
spot
that
on.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that. Like you say, spot on.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's a weird one. 2009 film. It really is kind of like a celebration of like everything original series, and also in some respect, I guess it is an adaptation, as in it's a Star Trek being adapted for modern cinema, isn't it? Modern action packed film. Like I said, it was say action movie of the year at the time. It was
Absolutely. Well,
really was.
because I mean, I know, you've seen it. Battlestar Galactica
Uh huh.
is kind of like the series that we've been watching is a
Yeah.
reimagining of the '70s series, and I kind of think of
Uh huh.
the Star Trek 2009 a reimagining of,
Yeah.
not a full reimagining, but kind of like it's a new reimagining of the original series.
Uh huh.
But like for me, it does so well at sort of remaining true to Star Trek. It's
Yeah.
kind of
And
it
then,
is
and then,
still
and then
part of the.
also, if they do change things there and there, it's a separate timeline, isn't it? So I think that's where he was clever with it. Really, he was like, "Well,
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter because I haven't touched your show," sort of thing. He said, that sort of thing. It's a completely separate timeline. It's going below the prime.
I would still consider it Star Trek, is what I'm.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. No, 100% agree with you on that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, a lot of people see him as separate things. And in some respects I do, in some respects I don't. I do as in like I said, the whole timeline thing. I do see it more like an action film than anything else. But no, I agree with you. It's still. I'm just going to answer one of our questions that we had on there as well. Is the Kelvin universe needed for Star Trek? And I'm going to say, yeah. I mean, it got fans like myself.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. If it wasn't for,
so
we probably
yeah.
wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly. So yeah, I think you do need that. And like Gene Roddenberry said himself, in the future, some bright director in the future will do a story of my characters going through the Starfleet Academy. And he did in some respects. So there we are. You know.
Yeah. I think a TV series probably would have developed that more because I loved those bits. I think because the first half an hour of the film is them at the academy. I would have loved to just the whole film at them in the academy actually.
Oh, it's giving me an idea actually for a Star Trek series now. We should do you know, I mean, watch the In-Betweeners late. Imagine like an In-Betweeners sort of thing, but like Star Trek Academy students, like it'd be us. And like
that would be us. That would be so us.
And like, you know, like it'd just be funny, you know, like, you know, they're like students like in uni, but this, you know, obviously Starfleet and I think that'd be a good idea. It'd be good to make it British as well. I think it'd be funnier British for some reason.
Yeah, it would be.
You know.
As well, I think because I wrote this down just so I remembered it. Because Simon Pegg references Admiral Archer's Beagle.
Yes.
And I was like, they could have because they obviously got Leonard Nimoy involved. They could have gotten away with getting Jonathan Archer in it as Admiral Archer. You know,
yeah, that'd have been cool. I'd have been up for that. Yeah, but then I guess him just mentioning that was just cool enough, wasn't it? As well, though, it's just
that was one of those moments where it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think, like I said, there's lots of great references on that. I can't wait actually to talk about the other films as well. I think they also explore it even further. Important, I think, to Star Trek. I think as I said, it opens more doors. I think
opens more doors, and I mean, one of the questions we got is, does Star Trek work as an action film?
Yeah,
I think it absolutely does. It's good and it's fun and it's adventurous, which is what Star Trek is, and it's it's nice that it's like on that grand scale. It's nice that it's not just the TV shows. That makes sense.
I think because it kind of has that sort of you know, like action film. Is it a heist? Is that what they call it? A heist? Am I saying that right? You know, the idea that they go around like collecting like old friends or something to like build a team. So like,
you like I don't know. I think I know what you're trying to. What, like Ocean's 11?
Yeah. Ocean's 11 is the example of it. Is there a house or a heist? A heist
film. I love heist film.
Yeah, it is a heist. Yeah, it's the idea. You know, it's them films where they literally go around and they go like, I mean, the example I've got is Rick and Morty. Actually, it's the example where basically they go around and he goes, "Hey, I need you on my team. Remember?" And he goes, "Ah, you son of a," and goes, "All right then." And then they join his team, and that's what I'm trying to say. In a way, I feel that's what the Star Trek film was like. It was kind of like, you know, it started off with Captain James T. Kirk, and he's a young boy, he's troubled and all that. He's driving, listening to the Beastie Boys for some reason, and then like, and I love that moment as well. What is your name? My name is Captain. Oh, I didn't say Captain, obviously. My name is James Tiberius Kirk. I love that. Brilliant. And then obviously, then you know we meet different characters, and then they sort of create a heist, you know, and then they and you know what I mean, and they. I think what I'm trying to say is they sort of just have their own things and they all just come together and then they just go on this adventure, as you said, this action-packed adventure. And Star Trek is just a perfect way of just presenting that, you know.
I think Star Trek 2009, thinking about it, it allowed the whole Star Trek franchise to spread its wings and like grow and fly, like do you know what I mean? To see it like on a big Hollywood movie. We just think it as a TV show that's, you know, on whatever, but on a small screen, but it definitely showed that it does work. Not to say the other Star Trek films are bad or anything, because you know, I mean, all the original series films are great, and you know, some of the TNG movies are great. But what I'm trying to say is like the Star Trek 2009 for me definitely allowed Star Trek, you know, to go, do you know what, we can work in cinema, we can be on the big screen, have Hollywood's, you know, actors and, you know, a big budget. It does work.
It was basically our equivalent of the Avengers, wasn't it, really? You know, it was that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are obviously some people in it that are in the Marvel films.
Well, yeah, we are. Yeah. I think 2009 was an attempt, and I think I think it worked. It was to make Star Trek in a way cooler. I think,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think it worked really. I mean, we'll talk about it in another episode, but I think like Into Darkness, right? Like loads of people I know love Into Darkness and the 2009 film, and beyond, and it's great to see people who not necessarily into Star Trek talking about a Star Trek movie. I think it's quite cool.
I
So,
think, yeah, even if you don't like what's already been before, like what we like,
mhm,
DS9 and Voyager and all that, I think it's nice that it does,
mhm,
the Kelvin films are there for, I
yeah,
think people can still like the Kelvin films and
mhm.
not be Star Trek fans, if that makes sense. Like,
100% agree with you on that. Yeah, because I remember I watched it with I think it was my flatmate's boyfriend came to stay down, and I think he had it on his hard drive, and because I think I can't remember if I seen it yet or I did I can't really remember, but I remember we were watching it and he was on about I think it's in Into Darkness R2D2 appears, isn't he? And he was
yeah, I know he
talking.
appears in the original, the original. It does appear in this one as well, 2009.
Does he?
Yeah,
R2D2 does.
yeah.
Oh,
It
I
probably
thought.
appears in Into Darkness as well.
Oh right, okay, there we are. So he appears in. I didn't. Do you know? I didn't even notice he appeared in this one.
Unless you, like you say, unless you pause it.
Okay. So there we are then again. And what I'm trying to say is people like things like that, and because Star Wars, I guess, has got a sort of a bigger fan base, I guess, and if you know, I'm more of a mainstream fan base, I guess, if that makes sense.
I don't know how I feel about that though.
Mm,
R2D2 just being there
mm.
as an Easter egg. I don't know how that makes me feel.
I
I,
know, yeah,
I
it's
feel
yeah,
it's a little bit rude,
yeah,
if I'm honest.
yeah, yeah. But the idea that people, because I'll probably go and try and find it now, it's the fact
Yeah.
that people, go looking for that. I think, I don't know, it is kind of, it's interesting. And I guess and again, it's also because a separate timeline, I guess, again, he can sort of do whatever he wants, can't he? So
Yeah.
he has that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Because another moment I didn't realize as well until I read up on it. One of the people who played one of the, when they're being sent off to each ship and you got like Kirk, not being allowed on the ship and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what I think this is this a Scottish guy. He actually auditioned for the role of Scotty, but didn't get it. But he was
Hmm.
such a big Star Trek fan that they
Hmm.
gave him that role. And it turns out to be an actor called Paul McGillion, who plays
Oh.
who plays the Doctor in Stargate Atlantis.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know that until
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
read up on it, and I was like, oh my god, that's
Oh.
well, he's from Stargate,
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
another franchise that I love. So
I think as well, it's just a great opportunity for Star Trek fans who are actors to have an opportunity to be in the franchise they love as well, isn't it? Especially with like new films being made, and how can they say no, even if they a bit like, oh, it's not like real Star Trek, but they still want to be involved anyway because it's Star Trek. And like it'd be the same for us, wouldn't it? Really be like, oh yeah, well, oh yeah, we'll still be involved though because we we want to be involved in the Star Trek movies. So
yeah,
I think it's great.
because I think, sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say it's great for like it gives an opportunity then for Star Trek fans who actually work, as actors, a chance to fulfill their dreams. I guess.
Yeah, and it says obviously something about Star Trek when
Hmm.
big name actors, want to be in it,
Oh
and
yeah,
like and likewise big name directors. Because I know Quentin Tarantino wants to do a Star Trek film
yes, that
because
is true. Actually, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
I know he's a Star Trek fan, isn't he?
Yes. Well, from what I've read, like, yeah, he always wanted to do a Star Trek film in his own way, which I think would be really interesting. I keep thinking of well, Django and all that.
Yeah,
uh,
we'll have like a 4 hour
yeah,
Star
yeah.
Trek film,
Would
but
it be like done in parts as well? He has that, doesn't it? Part one, part two.
yeah,
Right. And that's one thing as well I loved about it was actually the soundtrack as well I thought
yes,
was great.
yeah,
Um, I know a friend of mine went to see the soundtrack performed live, I think by the London Orchestra or BBC London Orchestra, I think it is, and they actually performed like the whole soundtrack, for the live or in the Royal Albert Hall, which I think had
no,
visuals on as well and things like that. So I think that'd be really cool.
yeah, visuals and Music definitely. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the music actually, because yeah, when I was watching it, yes, I was like the music's really good, and it's not the music has elements of what we know as Star Trek music, but it's also original stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
The same with the titles as well. You know, the font.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little bit like what we know, but it's its own thing as well, which I think is brilliant.
Well, I feel like you said it has sort of a mix between the original sounds that we're used to, the sound of obviously the computer, the sounds of the beeps, beep, beep, in the spaceship and things like that. But also it was mixed nice with this nice new soundtrack, but also had a still a Star Trek feel to it. And at the end, the ending credits as well was the theme, obviously the main theme, which was just perfect, what we wanted. You know, it was great. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I am very happy with Star Trek 2009. I think it's a great thing.
Yes.
And they said there are things, but we can't like everything. Of course, we can't like everything. Okay, then. So here we are. Then. So just gonna go over course. Yeah, we talked about. I think everything actually. Yeah, I think the Kelvin timeline needs to be there definitely.
Absolutely, it's definitely part of Star Trek. Definitely part of Star Trek.
100%.
I feel like I say I forgot how good a film is. I forgot how good it is.
And also, I think what we've just been saying, I think looking at the awards just then really does sum it up. It was all about, look at that, the visuals there. The lighting's perfect. It's just a very well crafted production, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. Right then, so I think that's it then. Wow.
Yeah.
Loads to talk about there. We will be doing another Star Trek film soon. I think we should do that. Do lots of Star Trek films. I think that's a great way of doing it now.
Well, we could do Star Trek Into Darkness, or we could do.
Yeah. I think we like to get all the Kelvin stuff out of the way. I think it's quite cool to go through all the Kelvin.
Well, they're all on Prime Video actually. So
yeah, that's right. I watched 2009 actually. So yeah. So if you are listening and you like to watch, obviously, Star Trek Kelvin Universe again, or you haven't watched them before, check out on Amazon Prime, or you can find the DVD somewhere maybe. All right, Ed. So thank you everyone for watching. We watch, of course, on our Facebook page at M&DHQ, or watch us on our YouTube channel, or listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Breaker, Anchor, and of course Overcast and Pocket Casts as well. Wherever you're listening from or watching from, have a good day. And as we always say, live long and prosper.